Hello, good evening. My name is Hannah May Bjorgong from Bsce-3L. So, for intermediate round of answering question from ethics. Number 1, how does St. Thomas Aquinas' emphasis on love of self and neighbor reconcile with individualism and personal autonomy in contemporary society? Can this concept coexist? So, my answer is it emphasizes, according to St. Thomas, it emphasizes on love of self and neighbor is deeply rooted in his theological and philosophical framework, which can indeed be reconciled with contemporary concept of individualism and personal autonomy. So it also requires understanding. For instances, love of self. So according to or Aquinas believed that love of self is natural and necessary, but it must be properly ordered. Self-love involves caring of oneself in a way that respects one's dignity and ultimate purpose, which is union with God. So, other instances nato is love of neighbor, which is very true. So, contemporary individualism and personal autonomy. For example, individualism. This often emphasizes the importance of personal independence and self-reliance. It values the rights of the individual to pursue their own goals and desires, sometimes seen in contrast with communal obligation. So, reconciliation of Aquinas' teaching with contemporary concept. So, according kay Aquinas, ang teaching with contemporary concept na reconciliation is proper understanding of self-love, autonomy in service of common good, interdependence of love of self and neighbor, and virtue ethics and flourishing Aquinas. So, in conclusion, Aquinas' teaching on love of self and neighbor can coexist with contemporary concept of individualism and personal autonomy by emphasizing a balanced, virtue-oriented approach to self-regard and freedom that inherently includes concern of others. So, for continuation, number 2, how does Kant's concept of the good will relate to contemporary discussion on moral character and virtue ethics? Can cultivating virtues like honesty and compassion be seen as a duty? So, my answer is Kant's concept of goodwill and its relation to contemporary discussion on moral character and virtuous ethics can be understood in several key ways. Kant's framework and emphasis in virtue ethics and character traits offer different but potentially complementary perspective on morality. So, for example, ang example ni Kant, concept of the goodwill, number 1, goodwill as a basis of morality. For Kant, according to Kant, the goodwill, the only thing that is good without qualification. It is the will to act according to moral principles purely out of respect for the moral law, irrespective of the consequences. So, another example ani is duty and moral law. So, contemporary discussion on moral character and virtue ethics, for example, virtue ethics. It means it derived from Aristotelian philosophy that emphasized the cultivation of moral character and virtuous traits like honesty, courage, compassion, and temperance. So, number 2 is moral character. In contemporary ethics, moral character refers to the disposition to act in a morally good ways to consistently. This includes developing virtues that guides one action and form the basis of moral life. So, for conclusion, Kant's concept of the good will relates to contemporary discussion on moral character and virtue ethics by emphasizing the importance of moral intention and the duty to act according to moral principles. Cultivating virtues like honesty and compassion can indeed be seen as duties within a Kantian framework, as these virtues enable individuals to fulfill their moral obligation more effectively and consistently. So for number 3 question, to what extent in our moral character influenced by genetics versus environment and upbringing? Can individuals overcome genetic predisposition toward aggression or dishonesty and develop a strong moral character through intentional effort? So the answer is the development of moral character is influenced by complex interplay of genetics, environment, and upbringing. Understanding the extent to which each factor contributes and whether individuals can overcome genetic predisposition involves examining insight from various fields such as psychology and ethics. So, the example of influence of genetic on moral character is genetic predisposition. It means that it indicates that genetic can play a role in shaping certain personality traits and predisposition. Number 2, limitation of genetic influence. While genetics can predispose individuals to certain behavior, they do not determine moral character. Genes interact with environmental factors, meaning that genetic predisposition can be moderated or by life experience and social context. So, conclusion, moral character is influenced by both genetic and environmental factors, with neither acting in isolation. While genetic predisposition can impact behavior, they do not determine moral character. Individuals have the capacity to overcome genetic predisposition towards aggression and or dishonesty through intentional effort, education, and the cultivation of virtues. Supportive environments and personal commitment to ethical development play crucial roles in shaping moral character. So, let's proceed to number 4. How does Aristotle view the development of virtuous character, and what role does reason and social interaction play in this process? What are some common virtues associated with moral character, and how do they contribute to one's overall character? So, Aristotle's view on the development of a virtuous character is foundational in his ethical theory, particularly as outlined in his work, Nicomachean Ethics, that his approach emphasized the cultivation of virtues through reasons and social interaction, and he identifies as a variety of specific virtues that contribute to one's overall moral character. So, for example, the development of virtuous character is habit and practice, role of reason, moral education, and social interaction. So, the common virtues associated with moral character examples, that number 1, we have courage, temperance, generosity, magnificence, magnanimity, patience, truthfulness, wittiness, friendliness, and justice. So, in conclusion, Aristotle views the development of a virtuous character as a process of habituation guided by reason and nurtured through social interaction. Common virtues such as courage, temperance, generosity, and justice contribute to the overall moral character and lead to a flourishing and fulfilling life. By practicing these virtues and finding the mean in various aspects of life, individuals can achieve and live harmoniously within their communities. So, that's all for me. Thank you.